How's it going, everybody? Driver53 here, and today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that are going to help you and your worker whenever you're plowing and rock picking. Yes, we are going to be able to fast farm with a plow and a rock picker, and we're not going to have to leave the field. We're going to put all of our rocks in this right here. Now, I make videos like this quite often, taking a look at, tips and tricks, almost kind of cheaty ways that console players can play Farming Simulator 22 here. And if you want to stay up to date on any of my new videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what mods we're going to need first. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to start in the front right here with the plow, and I'm going to work all the way back until the last piece of equipment that we need. That way it's going to be easier to put this together when you're at the store. The first item that we need is going to be under plows, and it's going to be the Lizard 6MT 9MT. Now, you can get this in the 9-meter variant. That's the one that we need right here. Go ahead and make it any color you want. We're going to stick with red and black. The next two mods are going to be weights, and the first one is going to be the Lizard 900 right here. What you need to do is on your attachers, make sure it says 3-point. That's going to be very, very important here. So we're going to go ahead and leave the color the same on this one too. Once you have your Lizard 900, go ahead and grab you a Lizard 500 kg. You want to make sure that on the design, it says with catch hooks. That's very, very important here for this. We're going to leave the same color on this one here as well. For the tractor, I'm going to get something with a lot of horsepower here, 517 to be exact. The Fendt 1000 Vario. I'm going to go ahead and change up the tires here to BKTs because in an earlier video, I showed that that brand has the most amount of grip. We're also going to come here and make this twin wheels all the way around. My engine setup, I'm going to make 517. Let's go ahead and grab this right here. Now that I've got all the items for the front, I want to go ahead and put these on the tractor because it's going to get a little bit more complicated here once we get to the back section. There is a very specific order that you need to put the back on. Otherwise, it's not going to work right for you. So we want to make sure that we're getting all of this stuff kind of out of the way. That way, whenever we get to the back, we are going to be perfectly fine. Now, the one thing that I do recommend is for your plow in the front, you go ahead and hook it on backwards, like you can see that we are doing right here. And the reason for this is because whenever you run this plow backwards, it doesn't require as much horsepower. Now I can go ahead and fold this up out of the way. Now let's go ahead and get started on what we need here for the back. First item you're going to need on the back is going to be the Lizard back lifter. As you can see, the only thing you can do is change the color. We're going to leave it red. After that, you're going to need to come to pallets and then go all the way across until you see your global goods transport pallet, $1,000. Go ahead and make sure you get the unreal capacity here. That way you have 200,000 liters of capacity. The next item you're going to need here, it might be a little bit confusing, but trust me, you're going to need the Lizard front lifter. You could also use the Massey Ferguson front lifter. Either one of these are going to work exactly the same for you. We're going to go ahead and change this color here to blue. Next, we're going to come right across here to the drawbar. We are going to need this as well. I'm going to explain why we need it here in just a couple seconds. Nothing special about this one. I'm going to go ahead and change the color just so I can see it a little bit easier when it's on the ground. And the last mod that we're going to need is the Scorpio 710 by Blacksheep Modding. This does now have a width of 9.5 meters. That's why it's very important to have that 9-meter width on your plow. And, the capacity, we all understand it's going to be low, but the width makes up for that. And using the pallet that we have and being able to unload into it, that's going to make up for this having a very low capacity. All right, so now you can see we have our 5 additional pieces of equipment here. Let's go ahead and put all these together. The first piece on the back is go ahead and put your back lifter. After that, you're going to want to attach your pallet, but you want to do it the long way right here. So boom, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up out of the way. The way I'm doing that is I'm holding my left trigger and I'm moving the right joystick up and down. And that's going to move me up and down here. And then to tilt it, I go left and right on the joystick. There we go. So I'm going to move this thing all the way out of the way. And the reason is because now I need to hook up those items. And next, we're going to hook up the front lifter on the back. Yes, it seems really odd, but trust me, it's going to go right here. Now, the reason for this is because that drawbar needs to attach to that 3-point there so that you have 2 different 3 points on the rear of your tractor. We pulled away from the other equipment so you can see this drawbar and 3-point here a little bit better. And the reason we need that is because it's going to allow us to dump into this pallet a little bit easier. All right, so let's go ahead and back up here. And as you can see, there's no need to adjust which mounting point it's going to use. It's going to grab the one in the middle because that is the one that it likes the best as a pen style attachment. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and bring this pallet down a little bit, and I'm going to rotate it like this. Now it hit pretty hard, so what I'm going to do is actually raise it up. We're going to angle it just a little bit more. And the reason that it's important to angle it is because there is a plane that comes out. Just imagine it's in perfect line with that pallet. And that plane needs to be below where the rock picker is actually going to dump the rocks at. So it's a higher dump, right? So if you have this pallet angled down that way, it's going to be fine. The trigger is very, very large on this thing. So what I'm going to do is, bring it down just a little bit more right here and angle it a little bit. Now we may have to adjust this a little bit as we start to go through and, experience a couple unloads here. We're going to have to move it just slightly. Because it's there's a little bit of a collision, but not too bad. It's gonna work fine. So the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and toggle over to the rock picker and the plow and go ahead and drop everything down. So you can see now we're going through. Nothing up in the top really makes sense because everything's kind of hooked up in really weird spots. So kind of get your stuff set up like this right here, and then what you want to do is go ahead and go to this. We're going to go ahead and lower it down, as you can see right there, right? So we're going to come back to this one and we're going to lower it down too now. So as I start to move forward, now you can see that we are actually plowing and we're getting the rocks. Now, if I come back to right here, this should be lowering down and turning on. Yes. So we are definitely turned on now. Let's make sure that we can go ahead and not pick up the rocks. So let's make sure that we can lower that down. So it looks like our blue in there is the one. There we go. We've got it now. Let's go ahead and lower it down. And here we go. Now we're going to be able to pick up stones. All right, perfect. So as you can see, we are going 19, 20 miles an hour, plowing the ground and picking up rocks. Now I said that we'd be able to do all of this and dump into that pallet without having to move it around or anything like that. Let's go and do that. Let's imagine that we're full right now, right? So you can see down at the bottom, it says R1 and triangle. That's going to be for me to start overloading my stones. So as we do this, you can see there's going to be just a little bit of a collision right there, and it emptied and it didn't like it, right? So what we need to do is actually get this out of the way just a little bit. So we're going to bring it back a little bit like this, angle it a little bit. Okay, now when I go back here, we're back on the stone picker again. You can see that whenever I unload, we are going to go up a little bit. It's going to miss. It's going to give us the animation of the rocks, and it's going to put it into the pallet. So we're good. It worked. Now, all I have to do, hit my worker, get out of the way, and they are going to keep doing their thing. No problem. They're going to be able to do this entire field for me. So it takes a little bit to kind of find it and get it exactly where it needs to be. But once you do, you could do an entire map like this if you could fit it all in that 200,000 liter capacity right there. But that thing doesn't seem like it's that hard to swap out if you need to. That's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you would. If you want to stay up to date on all my future tips and tricks videos here on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell too. And while you're waiting on those future videos, go ahead and check out one of these two right here. Have a great day, night, evening, everybody. Until next time, this is Driver 53 signing off.